to let this affect me. It's all right. It's all right. Hopefully everybody's here. My apologies if I lost you back there. Lost YouTube. We lost YouTube for a second. We lost who else did we lose? Let's check our destinations real quick. We lost YouTube. Twitch, welcome back. YouTube, welcome. Facebook, welcome. Welcome everybody back into the conversation. I appreciate you. Listen. There we go. If you're still here, like I said, we're sitting here, we're having a conversation. We are having a conversation about mental health. Hannah, I'm going to jump to your comment real quick. She said, is it an obsession or is it trying to find a rationale so that we can make steps to handling the situations we face better? I don't know. Because you can look at that. That's a double-edged sword, right? So on one side of finding a solution to a problem is simply finding it. On the other side of it, you kind of have a situation where you when you become obsessed with learning the problem and not solving it. I kind of compare that situation to like college professors, right? So conceptually, they understand everything about their topics. But when you or more specifically, business professors. So conceptually, a lot of the things they say and a lot of terminologies they use can be applied in the real world. However, if they don't have any professional real world experience, they're kind of obsessed with learning about it. They're falling down the wormhole of the problem. Sometimes there's a small step. There's a very small portion on finding a solution to a problem. I mean, there's a small element to finding a solution to a problem with literally becoming obsessed with the solution and not becoming obsessed with the problem. So, for example, we were the first generation. Let me make sure that everything's all good here. Let me check on the live because I just realized that because we had a slight fail in the on the show, because we had a slight fail, connection fail, and I was in the middle of my rant. Here we go. Is there a new link? Yeah, nah. I have a new link. Doggone it. That's frustrating. That is frustrating. So now, because there's a new live, this is not cool. Let me see. Is there a way to copy? If I copy this, right, and then I go to Instagram, I'm sorry for leaving. I don't like leaving dead silence in the middle of a conversation. I like it better when we're having a conversation about just a fluid conversation about the entire show or about a topic. But sometimes we have to accept the fact that there's going to be errors in this whole operation because I do not have the proper equipment in order to make this happen. I'm out here just winging it, to be honest with you. There we go. Cool. I don't know if that's going to make a difference on my views, but whatever. Here we are. So anyways, I'm saying, I'm going to go back to your comment, Hannah. Are you there? Can you guys hear me? Is everything all good? Hopefully I don't lose you guys again. Hannah, you said, is it an obsession or is it trying to find a rationale so that we can make the steps? She said, is there a better way to share the link for the live? I love seeing the process happen organically. Yeah. Is there a way to share it? Let me see. I'm sure there is. I probably can put it right here in the can't post to some channels. All right, but whatever. There it is. I was able to actually put the link. in the in the chat. So there we go. Now we're back. But yeah, Hannah, you were saying that your conversation is pretty straightforward. You're like, are we obsessed with the problem, or are we? I want to say it verbatim because I know you're gonna come at me if I say it wrong. Is it an obsession, or is it trying to find a rationale so we can make the steps on handling situations that we face? But I feel that we've always faced situations in this life. We've always had some form of tribulation as adults or as humans. I think that this generation is almost overly obsessed with trying to define it. And mind you, I'm saying this as a member of the millennial generation. And we probably have less than a decade left while we're part of the young group. To be completely honest with you. Because Gen Z is coming up right behind us. And I don't know, my students, I don't know. They're not really the type to want to define everything. But I don't know. So me, like I said, this is how my whole thing, this is why I say how schools don't really, as you said, nah, you old, I'm Gen Z. You a fool. You a fool. Well, I'm a millennial over here. This is the millennial head over here. I'm an old head. But this is the thing, right? I will never completely understand. I will never really completely understand somebody who's obsessed with a problem, right? And ADHD, the moment that phrasing or that acronym or whatever that was diagnosed in a generation, you have to understand things started changing in the classroom. See, being an ADHD student, that lets you get special tests. That lets you get more time on your test. That lets you sit somewhere. Sometimes one can even argue it makes it easier because now the test is fostering to your learning style, but that is not a reflection of life. What is this whole ADHD versus accountability conversation start, right? So now let's fast forward. That same student who got a special test their whole life, at least through grade school. Let's say that in college, they cut the whole ADHD situation off. They come into the work world, right? And then their place of work does not want to foster to their learning style. What does that mean for that person? What ends up happening is they start using their sickness as almost a crutch. Now, listen, I know I'm walking into murky territories with this topic, but I really want to have this conversation because if I ever told me, let's go back to Margot. When Margot went, my old third grade teacher went to diagnose me with ADHD, right? And let's say that she got it off. Let's say my dad wasn't present. Let's say he agreed to it. So now I had Adderall. I had Adderall for almost 10 years. That's almost third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, sixth grade, seventh grade, eighth grade, ninth grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade. So I had almost Adderall for a decade. I've got the special tests. I'm allowed to do all the special things. Hell, I even get the special bus. I make sure I get the bus on time. I go all the way with my whole ADHD. I cram it all the way up, right? Things are fine and dandy, but then I get to college, and now, you know what? They don't even accept my whole ADHD story. They think it's bullshit. They're calling bullshit on the whole operation. What am I supposed to do? At that point, do I just find another school? What do I do? And then let's fast forward even more. I make it through college. Let's just say that they cater to my ADHD, and now I'm in the work world. There's nothing more cutthroat than the corporate world. I'll tell you that right now. If you're not providing numbers, or you're not performing at a certain level, you are not going to be able to, like I'm saying, you're not going to be able to, whatever. I'm drawing a lot of blanks. Today was a long day for me. You're not going to be able to perform in the corporate world. Yeah, that's really it. Honda, you said ADHD students don't take the special bus. That's for special day. I know. I'm just being stupid. I got to be facetious for the sake of conversation. I'm just saying because life does not, as you can become an adult, life does not cater to your needs. You have to learn to adapt to the reality of whatever the situation is, whatever the society is, whatever the group you're in. So I don't never really completely understand the whole ADHD conversation. Now, this is where I take my take all the way to its furthest point. I don't think you're allowed to have ADHD past 30. As crazy as that sounds, as a horrible of a number that is, listen, she said, please read my longer comment. That's more important to this conversation. Okay, I'm gonna scroll up. I see you. I get when I see the long comment. Also, I was a resource teacher, and that test that really, hold on, I have a glare on my screen. I was a resource teacher, and the tests are not really altered. Also, the point is to wean them off of that system. The job of that resource is the resource teacher to give the students the tools for them to handle. Yeah, I understand in that situation, but you gotta understand the diagnosis of ADHD back in 2003. That's today. This is already after almost a decade or two of knowledge. I'm not talking about the ADHD of today. The ADHD of today is probably a little bit better, but the ADHD of my generation, when I was a kid, when I was 10, it was not the same. It was really just to keep the drug pipeline going. Now, if they're saying the goal is to wean the kids off the drugs, cool. But I still do think that, I don't know. I think what happens is some of the kids, and I see it today, I can look at a student and I can tell today at teaching from a middle school and high school, I know the kids who are taking medication for their ADHD. I see it. And I almost see a lot of their personality kind of just die out in the process. And I think that really does suck. Now, I know this is bold of me to say. I got a baby right now. So if he's any energy, if he has my energy, I have to be able to dish everything I'm saying right now. I'm going to get it all thrown back at me. Understand, it's like, at that time, they weren't really pushing. Not really. They were not pushing at all for any type of weaning off the system. They just wanted to give you the diagnostic, which kind of, I would even say, that kind of led to the opium crisis. Now, the opium kids, the first round of ADHD kids, congratulations, they're here. Now, for the first time, I'm not saying for the first time ever, but what I can say, we're starting to see a generation of children, of kids, of young adults who lack accountability. Where did the lack of accountability come from? It didn't just grow up out of the ground. Is it possible it came from the ADHD kids from back in the day? Could it have been from the extended time on tests? Could it have been from the altering, the softening of the human adult experience from an early age? I almost want to say it's a turnkey operation. You know how they say how the school to prison pipeline is a thing? I almost can say that the drug to the accountability pipeline was also happening at the same time. And don't get me started with inner city schools. I was going to a good school. I was a black kid at a good school, and they were trying to push this on me. There was no telling what was going on at my local schools. There was no telling at Altaloma. Like, I will never really completely understand that. I will never completely understand it. I think that all the drugs that we were given back in the day have literally led to our lack of accountability today. The softening of the, like I said, the softening of the human experience. The school is supposed to give you a small reflection of what the real world is like, but small enough to where you understand, but not too real to where you got to pay a bill. You see what I'm saying? So I will never, and this is why I have to just essentially say thank you to my dad, because if it wasn't for him not accepting that, I would not be as accountable as I am today. Which takes me into Money Mondays. Money Mondays have arguably been, or this show has arguably been, one of the hardest things I've ever had to do in my life. Hands down. Hands down. Between learning, it's a series of things that I've learned throughout my lifetime, was my communication skills, me learning how to do research, me learning camera work, lighting, all of these things, saving money, working to get equipment to give you a better show. This show with my 5 viewers in here is arguably the hardest thing I've ever done in my entire life. But its lack of performance is because of me. And because I hold myself accountable. What's going on, Fabian? I see you in the comment section. I mean, I could have said it's the lack of accountability, to blame for the lack of accountability on the drugs. No, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that. I always try to, like I said, my wife is really good for this. She's always trying to find the source of it. So what's the source of a problem, right? And I learned that for me, I'm saying this personally because I didn't have that opportunity. I wasn't allowed to take the Adderall. I had to just go through life getting those C's and accepting that I wasn't the smartest kid in the class, but studying at the level at which I had to study harder than everyone else to perform below everyone else. And I accepted that. I was perfectly fine with that. But I do notice amongst my peers, my millennial group, that a lot of them who were allowed to take the Adderall, they lack accountability to this day. To this day. They lack it. They're like Ray Charles to their responsibilities. That's really all I'm trying to say. And I don't think, me personally, I don't think this is an old head take at all. I think if we look to the left and we look to the right and we think about the kids who were taking the Adderall back in the day, who were the ADHD kids, the kids who are all diagnosed with ADHD, not even because they had ADHD, probably because the teacher just sucked at their job. But I'm not going to go on that rant again. I'm not going to go there. I'm going to say because of that, they now lack accountability. They found a very good job of reaching out and blaming the world for all of their problems. That's just me. I don't think what I'm saying is far-fetched. Religion has always existed in society, spirituality, wanting to connect with God. So it's not, and the reason I use that is because That's something that's always existed. I try to go back to the early 2000s and ask, what was something that did not exist in the 80s that did exist, that was popularized in the late 90s and early 2000s, and that's it. So, in conclusion, now that we're now the adults, the young adults of society, congratulations to all my ADHD kids. You're no longer allowed to use that as an excuse. You can only use ADHD as a crutch as a kid in your 20s. In your 30s, nobody cares about your ADHD. You just got to get it done. You have to get it done. You can have 20 projects on the table. You got to get it done. You got to have bills, kids, married, whatever situation. You got to get them all done. You cannot blame why one thing fell was because of your ADHD. You can't. You have to take full accountability for your environment and the setting and the situation you are in. And I think after 30, you can't do that. Imagine if somebody was in their 40s and the reason, and they blame their lack of success on ADHD. They would sound crazy. But in school, you can say the reason my grades were poor because of my ADHD. And that sounds crazy. That sounds asinine. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. Oh, Hannah, you funny. You said house phobias were. I actually have it. But I said that last time. But I'm not going to leave until it's done. But I said that last time. I really do. My ADHD kicked in. My ADHD. You know, it kicked in. But I do have it. Here's the issue with it. I'm going to let you guys know. You guys have a lot of the same shots. I found myself doing a lot of underwater clips. And I was like, I don't know what I can do with this video. Because all of it's practically underwater. But I do have my external. And also tomorrow, because there's no work, happy 4th of July to everybody. And there will be a 4th of July episode. I'm letting you know, to be completely honest with you. I'll be back here tomorrow recording. I'll probably start a little bit earlier. But yeah, I found myself, I was like, yo, I'm trying to find inspiration in using sound effects. I threw some water sounds in it, and I'm hitting you with a real artist. I told you got some symptoms. Shut up. Yeah, you got my ass. I was on my take. I thought I had something important to say. Damn. My ADHD got me. See, I don't even say it's my ADHD. It's my ABLOH. That's my son. My son is the reason why things don't get done, but yet my son is the reason why I need to get everything done. It's a double-edged sword being a parent, y'all. I'm starting to see all the double-edged swords in my generation of like being an adult. Like this shit is definitely a process, y'all. Like I don't know. And then my next follow-up question is, like, if you do diagnose yourself with ADHD, right? What are your solutions that you're finding? What solutions do you have to bypass it? So the whole person who sponsored this whole episode, I got to give a whole shout out to my friend Emma. And you guys saw me fighting, like if I should say her name or not, but she was saying that at one point, like how simply exercise has helped her become focused with the other facets of her life, you know? And I don't think she never said she had ADHD or anything like that, but her conversation was her and I were talking about accountability, and I kind of just wanted to transition it over to like, why would people lack it? And I tried to have a big picture. I tried to get in my whole philosopher bag with it, but yeah, it's really interesting. So I want to make sure that you guys are doing all the necessary steps to make sure that that you're finding the solutions to whatever the mental health problems or tribulations that you're going through. You got to find the solutions. At a certain point, you can have 1,000,001 problems in the world, but if you don't have a solution, what are we saying? What are we doing? Where are we going? You know? What's the next step? Like, those are the things I always think about. That's what I always fight and ask myself, what's the next step? Today was a kick in the ass, and I wish, as much as I want to talk about the topic, it's not for me to really talk about because it's with me and another person, and I don't want to make it sound like I'm shooting at them. I want to make this a gender conversation. So, but yeah, I think I found myself in like another situation where my bills have once slapped, almost they done got me again, and I'm finding it so hard. I'm finding it so hard to almost, I don't want to say bypass this. I'm having a hard time just trying to work through this thing. But I wouldn't dare blame anyone. I wouldn't dare blame any outside parties for my lacking in any facet of my life, So I don't know. I kind of Hannah, you said I've self-diagnosed myself, to be quite honest, and I've learned making lists and using my calendar really helped me. And yeah, dude, I really do. I've learned that putting things on a Post-it note, that's kind of really been my solution. If I throw it on a Post-it note, I can get somewhere. Oh my gosh. If I put it on a Post-it note, it lets me kind of organize, and just writing it on a Post-it note, getting it done, tearing the Post-it note and throwing it in the trash is like I don't know, it's a sense of accomplishment. It's almost a cheap thrill because it's not really saying everything's done, but it makes me feel good. I don't know. It makes me feel good. So I do it. I don't know. Anyways, that's all I really had for today. The money element of this conversation, of this episode of Money Mondays, was essentially me just talking about the next steps of all my business endeavors. I've designed a flyer that I'm going to put on Instagram just to talk about selling my video services and even my window washing and mirror cleaning services. So I'm planning to have that rolled out. It's going to be rolled out by this weekend. And then I'm even going to put some ad dollars behind this. So I have the commercial for my running shoes. That's going to be recorded this weekend. I'm going to have a lot of ads are going to be dropping in the next coming weeks. And I apologize to everybody who's been following me for just organic life content, but y'all got to get ready for the ads, because another $500 a month done come to my life, and I'm trying to figure out how to get through it. And I'm going to get through it. I'm not going to stress. It's just one thing at a time, one small thing at a time. Anyways, I want to take a final question. Hannah, I know you in here. I want somebody to throw a question. Throw a question at your boy. Throw a random question at me, before we can get on out of here. Because that's all I really need is my one random question. We've been here, about a little under an hour, about half an hour, 40 minutes or so. That's all I really need. I'm going to go on home, get some more editing in. I'm going to pull it all night. I'm going to go home, drink some coffee, and get back to it. I'm not going to let any of this stop me. Y'all know that. I'm going to finish some of my work for my job. I'm going to finish some work, my client work. I'm just going to pull it all night. Anytime I get the next day off, anytime I get another day off, I always make sure I pull all-nighters now. I don't even do that where I sleep in. I'll make myself some coffee. First, I'll drink a little wine, relax, then drink some coffee, which is kind of oxymoronic in a sense, but, whatever. It is what it is. And then I just get to work. We pull in all-nighters. We pulling all-nighters until I get a graveyard job, and that's another conversation. That's what I'm kind of hinting, but I'm not going to talk about that. What are you doing for the 4th of July? Dude, I'm staying home, working. I'm going to be right back in here. Sending videos, sending proposals, finding new clients, working. That's all I'm really focusing on. That's all I'm focused on is just working, bro. That's all I'm working. Like, I can't see myself. I don't care about leisure anymore. I don't care about, other than when I'm recording here with my friends, I don't really care about anything else except working. I just want to get out of this position I'm in my life by any means necessary. If y'all saw the things I have ignored, the situations, the parties I've ignored, the people I've ignored, the only person I really call is my mama and my sister. I'm talking about the people who live outside. I don't even get a chance to call. That's really it. If I do all my talking here, I give it up here to this mic. And I tell people, if you're trying to catch up with me, tune in every day. Tune in. I'm here every single day. There's no reason you can't say I'm trying to get a hold of you. I want to see Peso. I don't know who Peso G. He said, what can I do to help you grow your business, man? You doing it, man. Just pay attention to me. Pay attention to me. You know, tune into the show. Tune into the live. That's really it. Support. Every time somebody's here, it really does make my day. And Hannah, if I could give an award to just #1 supporter, bro, you got it. You got it. I appreciate you so damn much. But anyways, that's all I really got for you guys today. I want you guys to stay happy. I want you guys to stay optimistic. And we gonna wrap it all up. I want you guys to have a safe 4th of July. If you're not here tomorrow, be careful buying illegal fireworks. Remember, all the niggas that was selling weed back in the day, they went to start selling pit bulls. And then right after they started selling pit bulls, they started selling these illegal ass fireworks. And they got them from niggas in Mexico and Vegas. And them shits is not even really, those ain't fireworks, y'all. Those are bombs. They have drones in the sky looking to watch you and your hood ass cousins light them fireworks outside, and they will ticket you. So you be smart out there. Be conscious of gas lines, you dumb asses. Lighting a firework on a gas line will cause things to explode. And if you like your thumbs, be smart. Be smart, please. Don't be stupid tomorrow. And if you live in the hood, them ain't fireworks, them is gunshots. All right, that's all I really got for you today. You stay happy, stay optimistic. I see y'all back again on 4th of July, even though America don't give a fuck about black people. Stay woke.